covering the islands of the Bahamas. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Good evening and welcome to The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. I'm Keishla Adderley. Thanks so much for joining us. Topping the news tonight, as the country awaits the announcement of a general election date, Prime Minister the Right Honorable Hubert Ingraham will deliver a national address tomorrow at 8 p.m. The address will be aired live on the ZNS television and radio network. It was during a speaking engagement in Grand Key, Abaco yesterday that Mr. Ingraham announced that his big announcement would have come today.
Grandkey and I have been together now for 40 years. We have formed a friendship and an association that will be with me for the rest of my life. This is my home away from home. Tomorrow evening at 9 o'clock I shall address the nation on television, so please tune in. My term is going to expire as the governor of the Bahamas, and I shall call an election and ring the bell. So listen for the date for the election. You will see me after the election, God willing. You'll either see me again as Prime Minister, as your Member of Parliament, or just ordinary Hubert Ingraham, because you and I will be together for the rest of my natural life. I owe you a great deal, and as I've told you before, I shall pay you by installments, because I could never fully repay Grand Key for all that you've done for me. I love you very much. I thank you very much.
Now, as we've said, Mr. Ingraham will now deliver his address tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Mr. Ingram's announcement follows a day that saw political parties demonstrate and perhaps compare respective levels of support among the unprecedented 170,000 registered voters. In an inter-island collage, the highly anticipated Red Splash event drew throngs of F&M supporters at Montague here in New Providence and elsewhere on the Family Islands, while the Progressive Liberal Party held its Gold Rush event at the Western Esplanade. Now tonight we have team coverage of today's events. We'll start with Shanique Miller from Red Splash. We also have information from the PLP's Gold Rush events and from the Family Islands. We'll get to those in just a few minutes as our reporters have just returned from those locations. Right now we're going to take a little look back at election 2007 as this parliamentary period prepares to come to a close. Aldavis Munnings has that.
It was on Wednesday, April 4th, 2007, just days before the start of that year's Easter holiday weekend, when former Prime Minister Perry Christie advised the Governor-General to dissolve Parliament and issue writs for a general election to be held on May 2nd, 2007. Mr. Christie also announced then that Parliament would resume on May 23rd. At that time, some 143,000 Bahamians had already registered to vote.
The May 2nd, 2007 date that I have fixed for the forthcoming general election is therefore in faithful accord with the promise I made to you earlier that the general election this year would be held on or before the 5th anniversary of the last general election.
Also keep in mind that the 1997 general election was held on March 17th, while the 2000 election was also held on May 2nd. The Free National Movement won a third non-consecutive term on May 2nd, 2007, securing 68,542 votes, or 49.86% of the vote. The Progressive Liberal Party garnered 47.02% with 64,637 votes. The F&M won the government, winning 23 constituencies, and the PLP 18. Meanwhile, the Bahamas Democratic Movement scored some 741 votes, while independent candidates secured 3,555 votes in 2007. At the start of this current term, Prime Minister Ingraham vowed to serve the Bahamian people again.
I'm grateful to my party, to all of those who offered as candidates, to former Prime Minister Perry Gladstone Christie and his cabinet members and members of the previous House, to all who worked so hard to deliver this victory, to my wife Dolores and my family for their patience and their loyal support throughout. I should also like to thank the Parliamentary Commissioner and his hard-working staff who performed under tremendous pressure all others who so ably assisted them, and the Royal Bahamas Police Force, who kept order throughout.
Back in 2007, parliamentary registration officials had to conduct a recount of several of the constituencies to determine the official general election results. In 2012, parliamentary registration officials report that the total voter registration count could cap 170,000. To ensure a smooth and fair general election process, amendments to the Parliamentary Elections Act were passed in January for international election observers, a first for the Bahamas. Altaviz Munnings, ZNS News.
Well, as we told you, the Free National Movement held its so-called Red Splash event at the Montague foreshore and on several family islands today. Right now, we're going to go live to our Shanique Miller, where that event is just wrapped up. Good evening to you, Shanique.
Vocational, good evening to you. I've moved to this side of Montague Park, the park area where there are more trees and people having, of course, picnic areas set up, and of course tents behind me selling food and drinks and that type of thing. Now, since earlier this evening, the crowd has thinned slightly. The concert is just getting started with a number of Bahamian acts still, of course, scheduled to go on. But Prime Minister Ingram just wrapped up his comments moments ago. You heard him talk about a number of things, talk about 5 years of F&M leadership and what they have delivered, and then he projected onto another 5 years and invited the Bahamian people to, of course, step onto the F&M ship and continue on with the F&M through 2012 and beyond. You heard him talk about women and the fact that women will be the deciding factor in this 2012 general election. In fact, he said 20,000 more women are registered to vote than men. In fact, here are some more of the comments that he had to say just a short time ago.
Fellow Bahamians, this is springtime. Just as Easter is a time of renewal, a season of renewal is beginning in Bahama land. The times are still tough. There's still much work to be done. But we are moving in the right direction in terms of economic recovery and turning the corner in our fight against crime. I want to report to you that my government has completed its mandate. It is now time for the Bahamian people to decide in whose hands they will grant a new mandate for the governance of our country over the next 5 years. It is now time to transform Colorado's rising tide into a tsunami of support. Leave none untouched. Leave none behind. Never forget that we are one for all and all for one. Our common purpose and shared battle is greater than our differences among ourselves. Don't forget, no fighting, no argument. I don't care who you like or you don't like. Your color red, let's work together. We'll work it out later. We are a big tent party. We are rolling out the red carpet of welcome for all. For all, including a new generation of voters. To young voters everywhere in the Bahamas. The FNL is committed to helping to ignite your future. I make a special appeal to every young person to join us as we gather together to build a 21st century Bahamas. You know, the fact of the matter is, the largest percent of registered voters in the Bahamas is voters between the ages of 18 and 25. I thank the young people very much for coming forward and registering to vote. We've never had a larger block of young voters ever. You are the next generation of leaders, and I'm honored to have you in this party. I want you to know, I want to make space for you. I'm getting older now. I'm not trying to hang on to power. I want to have as many of you as possible involved in the politics of this country. That's why I spend so much money on educating you, giving you better schools, good teachers, because I want you to carry the Bahamas forward. Come with me.
And of course the entire slate of candidates here that are based here in New Providence. You heard him, of course, encourage supporters here and around the country to begin wearing their party paraphernalia proudly, and also to sort of step on this the F&M ship as they go toward or march toward victory. Again, he promised, we thought tonight he would have announced ring the bell for the upcoming general election, though he promised, but that'll happen tomorrow. He has a cabinet meeting set for tomorrow, and then of course following that there is a national address in which the Prime Minister will then ring the proverbial bell. Keisha, that's what's happening here right now. As you can hear in the background, this concert is just getting started. Persons are going to be out here tonight celebrating and having a good time, but that does it for us right here at Montague Park. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Shanique Miller reporting from there. Now, as we said, the Progressive Liberal Party held its Gold Splash event at the Western Esplanade today. Now, up to news time, party leader Perry Christie was on his way to the site to address supporters there. We will have full details of his address in our next newscast. Meantime, the traffic division of the Royal Bahamas Police Force had its hands full today dealing with those two major political events. Traffic officials told ZNS News that all hands were on deck today to manage the busy Easter Monday traffic. And the Progressive Liberal Party, of course, having its event at the Western Esplanade, the Free National Movement at Montague. So a massive traffic management system in place to deal with both of those events. We understand from police that there were only minor infractions. Everything went smoothly as they tried to make sure that those events went smoothly and traffic flowed smoothly as well. Well, still to come, there is more to get to. We'll go to our Clint Watson. He's back from the Red Splash events on the Family Islands. We'll tell you what the Prime Minister had to say there. Stay tuned. The Bahamas Tonight continues after this.